In this video, we are going to talk about study design. Okay, so let's suppose you'd like to see which medicine, brand A or brand B, is most effective for pain relief. So in this case, brand A and brand B are our explanatory variables. We can also look at what the effect of no medicine, and the response variable is the amount of pain relief. Okay, so there are different ways you could study a situation like this. One method you could use is something called an observational study. And in this method, you would look for your a representative sample. And what you could do is you could just observe. You could ask the individuals, which medicine did you choose and what was the effect of the medicine. So in this case, you don't modify or treat the subjects in any way. You basically just survey them and observe what happened. And a second method that you could use is something called an experiment. And in this case, after you collect your representative sample, you could divide your sample into 3 different groups, and you could assign one group brand A, you could assign the second group brand B, and you could assign the third group, you could make the control, and then you could assign them a placebo, like a dummy pill. And then you could have, your researchers measure the amount of pain relief that the subjects experienced. So these are just 2 different approaches. And to give you a more formal definition, an observational study, in an observational study, the values of the variable or variables are recorded as they naturally occur. So the researchers do not treat or modify the subjects in any way. So for example, when we just survey the subjects and ask them which medicine, brand A or brand B, or neither, did you take? In an experiment, the researchers assign the values of the explanatory variable to the subjects in the study. So the researchers do modify and treat the subjects. So in our second method, when the researchers assigned the individual subjects to either brand A or brand B or a placebo, that's an example of an experiment. Okay, so the problem with an observational study, so if we go back to the previous example, is that the subjects are choosing naturally which medicine they will take, so brand A or brand B. And the problem here is we might have a situation where, for example, women are more likely to choose brand A and men are more likely to choose brand B. So if our study finds that brand A is more effective at pain relief, we end up in a difficult situation because we do not know if the pain reduction is somehow due to gender or if it's actually due to medicine A being more effective. So we end up with these lurking variables. So one problem with observational studies is it's very difficult to establish causation, because we have these things called lurking variables. So in an experiment, we have a better chance of establishing causation. And the best chance we have is by using a double-blind, controlled, randomized experiment. Okay. And this is our best bet at establishing causation. And so let me just explain what each of these words mean. So double blind means that the subjects do not know which treatment they received. And it also means, and that's actually what blind means. And double blind means that the researchers also do not know which treatment the subjects received. Okay. Randomized means that the subjects are placed in the treatment groups in a random way. So we would randomly select the subjects from the sample who are given treatment A, and then we would randomly select the subjects given treatment B, and so forth. And control just means we have our control group, so our one of our treatment groups receives the placebo. So this is the best way to establish causation. To conclude this video, let's just do a couple more examples. And all we're going to do here is just determine, is this study an experiment or is it an observational study? A, researchers study patients who tested positive for COVID for 2 years. After diagnosis, patients fill out monthly surveys asking if they experienced any long COVID symptoms. So is this an experiment or an observational study? So this is an observational study. And notice that the researchers did not treat or modify the subjects in any way. They did not interfere. Okay. And another thing I want to point out is note that in this observational study, the patients are surveyed, the value of the variables will occur in the future. So we call this a prospective, since the data, the values of variables will be gathered in the future. B, in order to determine which weight loss pill gives the best results, subjects are randomly assigned into 6 treatment groups and given either a placebo or a diet pill for 6 months. This is an experiment. Okay, and in this case, we can see that our subjects were given a treatment or modified by the researchers, and so this is an experiment. Now in C, researchers ask subjects to recall their cell phone use over the past 20 years to study the relationship between cell phone use and brain cancer. Okay, so note that in this study, the subjects were not modified or treated in any way, so this is definitely an observational study. I also want to point out that the values of the variables are gathered from the past. Okay, so they occurred in the past and the subjects are recalling. So this is a retrospective observational study.